Hey, welcome back to quiltingcowboy.com, and I'm excited to give another tutorial on this pattern, which is, as you know, helping out Quilters Healing Hands for Christchurch. Everybody, please go and look up their page. What they're doing is really amazing, and we should all try and contribute what we can in order to help all of those families that were affected in New Zealand by the killing in Christchurch in the mosque. Anyhow, this is my contribution to them. I'm happy to share with you the development of this pattern. It will be for sale probably in the next week or so once I've finished it up, because as you know, all of my patterns come with a video tutorial to walk you through step by step. So you're seeing the development of this as it progresses. The latest part of this pattern is in fact the circles, which I really love. Whereas it just had the hearts before, the element of these circles added to that kind of, I don't know, gives it a new life, right? It kind of changes the whole feeling of it, and I love it because it does lend itself to kind of that mosque type feeling, right? That I hope that the Muslim family will appreciate, so that we can send them some love. I just really feel that as quilters, it's our responsibility to help heal the world. And whatever we can do in whatever little way to show love, I think that that's our responsibility. So let's do that, okay? So this tutorial is on how to create these little circles. And while I showed you how to make the hearts before, the circles are actually a completely different, well, not completely, it's a different approach. All right, and it's very simple and very cool, and if you ever do any applique work, you will find that at some point you're going to be doing circles, and this technique will work on any size circle that you're doing, even tiny, 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 tiny little circles. Okay, so let's get started on how to do applique circles. Okay, so since this is kind of like part B to the heart tutorial that I just did, I'm not going to spend as much time on the prep, right? Just print out on your computer what it is that you want to applique as far as the size of circle. Then put it on your cutting board, and you're just going to get some double stick tape. You're going to put some non-melt mylar template plastic, right? And you can see how I just did this, and then took a box cutter and just cut it out. Really easy, right? Just a regular box cutter, cut out the circle, and you get this, which I've clearly been using already to create. Anyhow, so make your circle out of non-melt plastic, and once you got that, then just come over to your little lap station, and what I'm doing here is I take this guy and a little 505 so that he sticks to the back side of the fabric, right? Easy enough. And then from there, what I'm going to do is cut out just beyond 1/4 of an inch. All right, let's focus this down a little more. Just beyond 1/4 of an inch for the entire thing. Now, I find it really easy to actually turn the actual plastic part and kind of keep my blade in the same place as I rotate the whole thing around in order to fully cut that out, right? So that's just one approach that I use to make that a little easier. And then from there, this is the fun part. Well, at least for me. But you know I don't get out much. So this is fun at the Alan Rouse house. Anyhow, so we got that. That's all stuck together. I'm going to take a needle and thread. I'm going to double up the thread, and the only reason that I double up the thread is to make sure that the knot on the end is big enough, because if you don't have a big enough knot when you do this next step, it may just pull through the work that you've just done and you'll be sad. So don't do that. Okay, so create a big enough knot at the end, and that's, again, the only reason why I double up the thread. Give myself a nice, big, fat, gross knot in this. That's, well, not ideal, but in this case, it'll work. All right, good enough. So now that I have this and I have my needle and thread ready to go, what I'm gonna do is, look at this. I'm gonna show you real quick here, maybe with a pen. I'm gonna just go in and out about 1/4 of an inch in and out with the thread, right? So it looks like that. You can see how far apart those stitches are, right? So that's what I'm aiming for, is just to take this and run this in and out, and I can usually do about 2 stitches at a time while I'm doing this, right? And just go all the way around the whole thing, okay? Okay, so you can see I have gone all the way around, right? And just the action of sewing it by hand sewing will kind of start to create already ripples around it, right? And then just pull that string a little bit tight. I hold it in the center and just kind of get it, right? Nice and tight there. Sorry, my lap ironing table is like, oh, such a mess, but you know, busy. So, anyways, spray starch, right? Q-tip, spray starch into a container, right? The spray starch is going to go around the perimeter. So I just am making the edge wet to get it to relax, right? This is kind of like that first margarita on a Friday night. This is where everything just starts to feel right and relaxes into place. And then just pull that thread a little bit tighter, right? So now you've got really this, right? You see all those gathers, and where those gathers come together, right, is where exactly you're going to be. Here, let me show you the, do you see this point here, right? And this point here, and this point here? That's where you're gonna be hitting with the iron, right? And so I take my little Clover travel iron and I start from the side and I use the sharp edge of it to push in those gathers, avoiding any sharp crease on the edge. Really important, all right? So just hit them one at a time, right? Here's one, I'm gonna push that in, and again, just going all the way around. Super simple, just needs hot iron just for a second, just to kind of set that edge crease, right? And then we are done with that. And the next thing you do is take the plastic out. Now be careful, it might be hot. And you're gonna have to loosen up that thread just the tiniest bit, but not too much. Take the plastic out, right? And then take your thread and pull it, and it'll kind of gather its edges back together. Now don't pull it too tight, you don't want to overdo it. At this point, you may want to grab some glue. All right, I got a glue and a Q-tip here. And if you're doing a bunch in a row, you may want to go through and just kind of swab the perimeter so that when you iron it down, it actually stays. Because if you're doing like, I don't know, 30 of these or whatever, by the time you get back to them, they'll kind of be undone a little bit. And this way, the glue will really kind of hold down those loose edges for you, okay? So just get that pushed down, iron down, nice, perfect circle. Well, from this side it doesn't look so great, does it? But that's not the point of the whole exercise, is it? From the other side, do-do-do-do. Nice perfect circle. Take your iron and iron it down, make it flat. At this point you can kind of press the heck out of it, right? Because you're really just trying to create that perfect circle, and there you go. Nice and easy. So now I can cut off that extra thread. Hello, where am I? Oh, there we are. Okay, so then that's it, right? Cut off the thread, and you would just come over to the work, find a spot where it's needed, and in this particular quilt, every area where the 4 hearts are facing this way gets a circle, right? So the 4 hearts facing this way get a circle, right? So even on the perimeter, there will be some, but like here's an area down here that needs one. Oh, you can't see that. Okay, never mind. But don't put one where the sharp edges of the hearts come together. Well, I guess you could, but that's not my pattern. That would be an artistic change for you if you like to do that. I just kind of like that it has this kind of feeling of bringing the 4 hearts together uniquely in just those areas such as this. Anyhow, that's it. That's how you make perfect circles for applique. I hope that this was helpful, and as always, thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate you and you kind of supporting me, and I hope I can do the same for you by teaching you some techniques, having some fun, and sharing some love. I hope you're well. Talk to you soon.